The Basics of Hermetic Kabbalah as Applied to the Tarot, Lesson 2. In the last lesson, we covered the origins of Hermetic Kabbalah. We looked at the construction of the seed of life, the flower of life, and how the tree of life fits on the flower. We found that there were many views of the tree, but that to begin we would use the chain of emanation view, a view in which one traces the path of the lightning flash, from undifferentiated consciousness in the first Sephiro, Keter, to the forms of the world in the 10th Sephiro, Malkut. Now we can take a closer look at the Sephira and the pillars of force and form before we trace the path of manifestation in the chain of emanation. In this view, the tree of life shows the dynamics between consciousness, force, and form to manifest or create the forms of the world, or for consciousness to be differentiated and made manifest. Force is traditionally seen as masculine, and form is traditionally seen as feminine energy. For a creative aspect to become distinct, a destructive aspect would have to coexist simultaneously. As humans, we see the reality of consciousness, force and form, and we are only able to reflect on it. We can be conscious of it. The primal glyph is traditionally called the macroprosopis, or face of God. The secondary glyph is called the microprosopis, or face of man, a reflection of God. The map of creation is complete when adding construction and destruction of form, providing duality and possibility of differentiation. We see that there are three distinct columns: the pillar of force, the pillar of form, and the middle pillar. Remember here that the pillar of form is considered feminine while the pillar of force is considered masculine. The middle pillar is what some call the direct path. The names and translations of the Sephira also provide clues to the essence of each one. Here they are for you to become familiar with. Keter, crown; Chokma, wisdom; Bina, intelligence; Dahat, knowledge; Chesed, mercy; Gervura, strength; Tiferet, beauty; Netzach, victory or firmness; Hod, glory or splendor; Yesod, foundation; Malkut, kingdom. In this diagram, we are also introduced to Dahat, knowledge, a non-Sephiro also commonly referred to as an abyss, that which separates the Godhead, top 3 Sephira, from the human experience below it. We are also introduced to the 22 consonants of the Hebrew alphabet and their assignment to the tree as per the Golden Dawn teachings. These are significant, and there will be more to learn when we study the major arcana. Emanation means to come from a source. Keter is that source in the tree of life. Very little can be said about Keter, or indeed about the first 3 Sephira, as the energies they symbolize are so far beyond the limits of our understanding. Keter can be seen as pure, unconditional, unlimited, undifferentiated formless space containing the potential of everything that is, was, could ever be. It is unity. One. Whole. A great way to view Keter is to think back to the first circle you saw in demonstrating the flower of life, before becoming a point and moving to the leading edge. Instead of spheres of influence arising from each intersection or meet, whole trees spring up. A fractal generator could come to mind. It is the source of all creation, in all directions, all at once. Wow! The energies of Chokma are also completely unconditioned. However, there is a slight movement now towards differentiation, a movement towards creativity. So we can now imagine the point arising in the circle, not actually becoming as yet, but the idea of something becoming. Thus Chokmah is seen as unconditional creativity. In Bina, the point will start to take on the idea of form, in that there will be a possibility of boundaries, of the unconditional creative energy of Chokmah. Now in Chesed, the creative energy becomes conditioned. It has direction. In Gevurah, it begins to respond to its boundaries. Attention required for manifestation as such. Then in Tifreth it pops into existence in the form of an idea. There is awareness or self-consciousness. In the allegory, the point has appeared. Awareness but not manifestation. From there, in Netzach, energy is poured in to make the idea manifest. There is a response to creativity. In our allegory, the point is hurtling towards the leading edge, powered by its stop on the pillar of force. In Hod, now the form of the idea is refined through abstraction and classification. The boundaries and limits of its existence are being nailed down and thrown back and forth to Yesod to finalize its physicality or manifestation. In the allegory, the point is approaching the boundary and is preparing to pop out. Just as it approaches, it makes a last stop in Yesod to give it the stamp of approval, for it is here that we judge it worthy. Yesod is the interface between reality and mentality. Some call it ego. It pops into reality, physicality, the plane of current experience. In Malkut. In our allegory, the point reaches the boundary and a whole tree of life pops up as the idea is made manifest, and the consequences of such starts the creative process again. Since we have covered some aspects of the Sephira in our tracing of the lightning flash and have an understanding of the pillars of force and form, we are now ready to move on to the paths of the tree and how they differ in the Jewish and Hermetic traditions. When placing the Sephira on the tree of life, we can see that there are paths joining them. All Kabbalists believe that these paths represent the changes in the energy and qualities from one emanation, Sephiro, to the next. What they don't all agree on is how the Sephira are joined. The scheme preferred by the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn looks like this. This is the scheme most often seen in esoteric literature. Note that the three horizontal paths are not part of the flower. The paths joining Netzach and Malkut and Hod and Malkut are not part of the flower. Jewish Kabbalists prefer this scheme for the arrangements of the paths. It is called the Tree of Return, proposed by Isaac Luria. Note that the three horizontal paths are not part of the flower. The paths joining Chokmah and Tiferet and Bina and Tiferet are not part of the flower. As this course deals with Hermetic Kabbalah and particularly the Tarot, we will be using the Golden Dawn scheme. Let us take a moment to compare them now side by side before leaving the Tree of Return and concentrating on the Hermetic paths. The Hebrew letters have been included so that a comparison can be made. In our next lesson, we will take a closer look at the paths of the Golden Dawn scheme and how the Tarot has become part of it.